Well, hello, YouTube. Welcome to Campaign Terrain. I'm your host, That Guy Cross. This is my basement, and I'm going to do some crafting tonight. I don't exactly know what. Um, Probably something futuristic. I think I'm going to do like a very small spaceship interior, and let me tell you why. It's not outside my comfort zone. I've built spaceships before and all that sort of thing, but it's not in my wheelhouse. It's not the stuff I do. But Carl makes stuff, which is a brilliant channel. Carl's a great guy, and in I think it's 2 weeks. It could only be a week. He's got a challenge coming up with of out of your comfort zone, and so I'm going to do something that's way outside of what I normally do. I think that's probably going to be a spaceship interior. I don't know. I've got plenty of stuff for like meshes and things like that I can use for like deck plating if I make it like a military looking ship. I don't think I'm going to go for like bright and shiny like the inside of Enterprise, the next generation Enterprise or anything like that. I think I'm probably going to go for something more military-ish, like alien movies, that sort of thing. Not really sure. Kind of hoping some people get here because I want to show off the house I made last week. So for right now, let me talk about what I'm doing for the role-playing game. As you know, as everybody knows, because I told everybody. Oh, first, if you're new here, welcome. I am glad to have you here. I love having new people. If you are not new here and you've been here 100 times, welcome. I'm glad to have you here. I love having returning guests. If you've been here once before and you are coming back for a second or later time, you are now one of my campaigners. Love you for it. And I'm super stoked to have you. If you are coming here for the first time, I'd love to have you be one of my campaigners and return on it multiple times. That would be brilliant. So, cool. Like I said, I think I am going to start with showing some stuff I'm going to be doing for the role-playing game, just to let people know kind of where I'm at with that. I have been all over the place with that. My brain's been going 90 miles a minute, so I've gotten it narrowed down to 3 different things. And you can't see me here, so let me switch to a different camera. And those are going to be right now, the 3 that I'm working on right now, the concentration things I'm working on right now is I've got to more correctly balance my races, and I've got a couple of races I think I need yet to invent. Now, I'm making multiple worlds, so these will not all appear in one world, but I still got to make a meta spreadsheet that has all of the races and such. It's actually not a spreadsheet. It's actually a mind map sort of thing. I'm also trying to figure out a table of contents, things that I want, which things I want in which order based on importance of what I think they bring to the game. So that sort of thing. I've also got on here, add my red tablet notes to the main files. My red tablet notes are here, 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 and all of these other little posties here. So that looks like it could be a lot, but it's really not. I've got thousands more notes other than this. This is only about 20 different things here. So I've got to get that added into the main game as well. So I got to take care of that. So that's where my brain has been at mostly. That's why I haven't figured out what to make for this next project. I know it's going to be futuristic, but I don't know beyond that. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show off the house I made last week. I'm probably going to need some better light for that, so let me turn that on real quick. Okay, that's going to be a little wobbly for just a second. There we go. That should be better. Okay, now this is the house I've been working on. This was supposed to have been a speed build, and I could have built this entire thing. It keeps getting these weird little white dots. I don't know what those are. Anyway, it was supposed to have been a speed build, but then I started talking on one of my live streams, and it ended up being 4 or 5 weeks. So this is the house. I think it turned out really great. It's got the shingles I made from the jig. It's all made with my pre-textured. I texture it before I put it onto the house. Foam core with the foam peeled off, with the paper peeled off. I've left it paper on the inside on most of it because it doesn't matter. The inside being paper doesn't matter, and it gives it that very slight bit more rigidity. It's got some of my handmade windows, not the pre-cut ones, but I did add some mesh in there so it looks like they've got leaded windows. I've also got some doors that I had pre-made and I put those on, but I added extra trim to those as I did it. The foam edges are made of the wood edges are not actually wood. They're made of foam. The stonework is made of foam. I showed how I did that with a template to stamp the stone texture into those. And then as of last week, I left it with the chimney unpainted. I have since painted the chimney to look like river stone kind of things, just field stone kind of things. I have then what's the word? Lost my train of thought here. Dry brushed everything. I've done it in different colors. The top I did not do because I wanted it to remain fairly dark, and it's actually not all that dark, so it's beautiful. I love it. I did dry brush the chimney, so it took out some of that darkness of the painted bricks, but you can see those painted bricks in a still. No, it's either a still or I don't remember if I put it on a still, if that's that video I did. Anyway, it's on my Discord, so go check out the Discord. Links in the bottom. So all of these trim pieces here are wood. Now, are foam, not actual wood. These pieces here are actual wood, as well as the supports underneath the edge here. So this was all hit with, from the gables down, with a tan wash. I was going to put a black and green wash on the rocks, but they already look good, so I left them. Some of that tan wash dripped down onto it as well, and that's all well and good. There were several different little pock marks and holes, and you can fix all this stuff in the afters. I put glue in some holes and then painted over it after it dried. I put some paint in some holes and then gave it 2 or 3 layers. And some places I had some really big holes, and you can always block really bad spots with moss and greenery and such. So this is how the house has turned out. I think y'all can hear me. I only see one person there. I'm hoping you can hear me just fine. All right, so this is the back with the closed window. That's made the same way as the front windows, except that the front windows, I added that piece of matchstick in the middle, and then I put the shutters on the outsides and just glued those to the outside of the house to make it look like the shutters are open. Here, I just folded in and glued it. This one didn't require any mesh inside. It didn't require the matchstick inside. So altogether, really happy with that. Let me give you a quick little example. I'm going to kind of place it over this one set of bushes so that you can see kind of what it would look like. In, you know, it's situated in the right spot with the greenery and bushes around it. So there you go. That's the house done. I really haven't decided what to work on for this. Oh, good. You can hear me. Excellent. So I have not decided what to work on for my upcoming. Like I said, it's not out of my comfort zone because I build stuff all the time, but it's out of my norm. It's for the out of your comfort zone challenge. And I really don't know what to build. I think tonight I might just sketch and see if I can come up with what I want to build or something similar. I'm not sure. So if anybody has any ideas, I would be happy to hear it. But yeah, I don't really know. I've got some things I still need to clean up. Every time I look around, there's something else to clean up, but that's the story of life, isn't it? All right, so if that's back around, y'all don't need to be blinded. All right, so if you have any ideas, let me know. Otherwise, I am probably going to flip open to one of my other pages of my red tablet I already showed you and see about maybe designing the doorway for the inside the spaceship or whichever. All right, you don't need to see all my secret hidden notes there. It's not that they're, super secret. It's that they're probably kind of boring to everybody but me. All right, so alrighty, I guess I'm going to be sketching, which means I will have to switch back to the other light. So let's go back over here. It has been a busy day. Like 4 different channels I watch, excuse me, have had lives today, and one of them at a different time than normal. I was multitasking earlier and actually had like 3 lives going at once, and 3 live streams going at once. So it may just be a kind of day where there's lots of I could do an alien planetscape, but I'm not sure exactly what I'd do on it. I've got some things I could use as like alien plants that I already have, so I could do something like that. I could do something like a little geodesic sort of hut of some kind, some little supports across it, maybe some diagonal supports, a sort of arched doorway, And then something like a signal tower or something like that, because that'd be fairly straightforward to do. And I could do something like that, little platform on top, maybe some sort of little mechanism up there. I've got several things I could use as radar dishes, or I could figure something else to use for that. So something like that. It would definitely be futuristic and outside what I normally build. Maybe a little mechanism on top for like maybe it's not a fully habitable planet and it needs cooling or heating, or maybe there's breathable air, but they actually just need it cooled or heated in the module. I could, build a couple of little multi-stage telescoping antennas or something like that. I've got some things that are sort of crystalline weirdness that I could put up. I've also got some if you've ever seen my topsy-turvy video where I've got upside down things, I've got some bushes that are made out of these little round pieces, and the way they're put together, they can just go in any way you stick them on there. So I've got some little bushes or something like that that I could stick on there as plant life or crystal structures. But my first thought, and I'm not saying this is a bad way to go, my first thought was something like this. Just sort of fades off of the gray here. Take a camera shot this way and have like a basic bulkhead, and I could make some sort of hold on, drawing, distracting myself. I could make some sort of door that slides across, and when it slides into place, it meets with the other side coming this way, and I could do that so that one side meshes inside the other so that they slide together like that. And I could do something like that pretty easily, and then I could just have little control boxes on this thing I can make with some various little things. I can make something that looks like a little screen, a couple little buttons here and there. Maybe you have a cable that runs to the door, and then another one that runs out a ways, but then like goes into the floor. And then I could have both inside and in the room and out here. I don't have any way to mechanize that. I don't have any small motors or anything, but I could show it in both sorts of things. And out here I could have some sort of graded floor, and I could do that one of two different ways. I've got some what's it called? Drywall tape. That's the gridded tape. Looks like this, but it's fiberglass. I've also got the stuff that looks thicker, that looks like this. That is the cross stitch grading, the plastic grading, and I could do something like that. I could use either of those. I also have some. Oh, I have no way to draw that. I don't know how to draw the non-stick stuff, like you put in a drawer to stop the silverware bin sliding around, or you put it under a toaster to stop the toaster sliding on the kitchen counter. That rubbery, squishy mesh stuff, I could also use that as grading as well. Or I could put that down, spray paint through it, and leave it sort of semi-checkerboarded pattern as well. So I get any number of sort of things. Now, I'm not doing a 40K tech cathedral thing. I am so not. First off, you. Second, that's huge. And I don't have any place to put it. That's that. I've got like maybe a week, maybe two. Honestly don't remember to make it. I could probably do something what's the word? Cathedral, but that's not the word I'm looking for. Gothic. I could do something semi-Gothic cathedral style for that, but that's been so done. A million people have done that. I probably will not do that. Comfort zone indeed. Yeah, but that's not comfort. That's just dislike. That's not the same thing. I could build it. It's just, I don't want to be just one more piece of gray Gothic. There are other channels for that, but I appreciate your enthusiasm. All right. So, yeah. Let me experimentate with some. Grab some XPS or EPS, excuse me. No, XPS, excuse me. And no, what the heck? Let's grab some EPS, and I'll experiment in that because that way I don't care if I wreck it because I can always get more of this for free. Okay, this is a little thick, but it's not that much thicker than my other stuff. So we're gonna take this and okay. So if I want this to be 3 inches tall, so it's like my other stuff, let me just go ahead and do that. Oh, that is not a square corner. I thought that was square, and it is. It's so not. All right, so tonight I'm experimenting with, I was thinking this one just now when I grabbed this, but I think I'm going to experiment with this building here because I think I've got a way to do that fairly easily. But let me get this squared off real quick. Oh, that noise. I hate that noise. I can't tell if you are aware that I don't like the 40K stuff or messing with me, or if you are wanting me to actually do it. Because if you really want me to do it, I could probably swing that. But okay, so I want this 3 inches tall, so we'll mark that here. No, not with that, I'm not. Let's try that. Okay, now that should leave me a fairly square 3-inch rectangle. This may be 6 inches wide. I may be able to get 2 of them out of this. It is still not square. How did I manage that? Anyway, it's squarer than it was. That is exactly, it's close enough to 6 inches. So if I cut just to the one side of this, I can get 2 the same height, which I will need for something later. So let me go ahead and do that. Oh, were you? Okay. I thought you knew that I was not the biggest fan, so I was worried there for a second. You're like, no, do the 40K thing. And for any 40K fans out there, I love you guys, I do, but it's not my game, man. I don't do grim and or dark, and pretty much if it's got a gun, I'm out. Unless it's really got guns, like I'm still into BattleTech, so you know what are you gonna do? Old BattleTech. I haven't played any of the new stuff. Oh, that noise. Ugh. Let's try that again. Well, I'm sorry if I just deafened any of you. I am not capable of cutting through styrene without getting some sort of noise. That blade is not as sharp as I would like. Oh, I was dragging the actual. Well, that part's not going to cut anyway, is it? Okay, now, if I played my cards right, these should be about the same height. Yeah, about a millimeter off, but I can live with that. Okay, so what I'm thinking of doing is, if I can remember how to do it, making this at 30 degrees, which is just like that. And 10 inches wide? We'll go with 10 inches wide. 10's a nice number. We'll go with 10. 10 inches wide is here. And 30 degrees is there. So I think that's 30 and this is 60, but it doesn't matter. Okay, now. No, I threw those at different damn angles, didn't I? One's at 30. And that one's at 30. Okay. Ah. No, that was at like 29. And yes, my eyes can see that. I do not think everybody needs to go to that level of detail, but I'm picky about my stuff. Okay. Oh, yeah, definitely got to sharpen this. I can find where my sharpener went. Oh, there it is. as I've said before, these sharpeners will probably pay for themselves just in the cost of blades. So I also got mine on sale, so I am very happy with it. This one's got a rougher side and a smoother side. I hardly ever use the rougher side because I'm working with razors. So, and it just takes a few quick passes, and you can go right back to a super sharp blade. I like to blow off the metal dust just in case, but I don't know that it has ever matted in my entire life. Oh yeah, there we go. That's much sharper. Okay. When I'm doing this, the only reason I'm worried about the sharp is because with this EPS foam, the packaging foam, packaging foam, is that it oh, I can do it this way. The sharper your blade, the smoother and cleaner the cut. Smoother and cleaner the cut, the less of these little styrene balls you have everywhere. Yeah. And I know sometimes we all feel a little ballsy, but I don't want to be styrene ballsy. And by the way, this channel is not for kids. Okay, now that I've already got the cut at that angle, what I'm going to do is flip around this way. Always gauge when you can instead of measuring. Take this side and use that as my cutting guide. And now I should have two identical cut things. Yes, excellent. Let me clean a few of these styrene beads off of here. I'll sweep them up later, but right now I'm just getting them out of my way. Those of you who know me, you know I keep a lot of my styrene shrapnel, so to speak, for use in other projects. Yeah, I'm not keeping these little balls for that. I'm not doing that. Okay, so my thought is, if I take this and some card, which, remember, last week I had trouble finding, but I'm going to use a different kind this time, and I have it quick to hand. So if I take that and I measure my top piece is, didn't know that was going to happen, exactly 7 inches. Good. I like it. Okay, so we will go here and we will mark. Let's go this way just so I don't run into any problems here. And I will mark exactly 7 inches and exactly 7 inches. And we're back to the straight edge. So, anybody else working on anything out there? Or you just, oh, I can make Mars. I've done Mars before. I could actually just use my sand base I already have and just put a different house on it. That's actually, okay. I may just do that. It does not have the appropriate outworld looking foliage, but I can make new plants. But it's not red like Mars, but it's sandy like some fantasy, some far off world or whatever. Huh. Well, by coincidence, that's exactly the right height. That might be useful later, but that's not what I'm using for now. Okay, so this is exactly the right width. I don't think I want my building that big, so I'm going to make that about that would be 10 inches. That's a little big, I think. 9, 8. I'm going to go with 8. Okay, so then I want to take this and go exactly 8 inches on both sides. Exactly 8 inches on both sides. Pretty sure I'll know which one's my offcut since it's, less than a quarter the size of the other one. All right. So right now I am prototyping that little building I drew at the beginning. So this is what I'm prototyping right here. It's going to be like a little Quonset hut sort of thing, except flat sides and top. So this is just a prototype. This may not be the final entry into the challenge, or I may do more than one entry for the challenge. And they may both be futuristic-y. Okay, so that's front. Put a little mark there so I know which is the front. Okay, now this is going to go here. And I haven't turned on my hot glue gun, so that's going to be a problem. But we'll let that heat up. Meanwhile, I'm going to be cutting these other pieces. These other pieces are exactly 3 1/4, which I can't get out of that. But they need to be 8 inches as well. So that's going to be a problem. So I think I may have to cut this shorter than 8 inches. Let me see what my longest of these are. This, like I said, this is just a prototype. I'm just working with what I got here. So, okay, my longest two are these two. And they are both 7 inches and some change. So we are going to mark those at 7 inches. That's both of them. Let me slide this one over a little. And mark that at 7 inches. Then we will use this straight edge here to take that off at 7 inches. Ugh. This thing bows down in the middle. Every once in a while I got to grab a different cutting board, because my straight edge does not want to bow with the table. So we will take it. Remember, sharpen your blade. It's too easier. Slow cuts. I say that all the time, I know, but it bears repeating. Okay, and this one needs to be slow cuts. Why am I cutting 2 of these instead of just one and cutting in half? Because it is not 7 inches wide, and it needs to be 3 1/4 for each of these. So now we will go here. This is what I'm going to call square enough. And then we will take that and go 3 1/4. 3 1/4. My cutting mat has little dots on it that show like 1/4 inches. I'm showing you. I'm trying to find the right one here. Okay, right here. So it's got line, dot, 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 line, and each of those dots is 3/4. That's what I'm using to measure this with. So you can measure it any way you want. That's just the way I happen to be doing it. Okay, so that's more bowed in right there. I'm just trying to figure, like I said, this doesn't have to be exact, but I'd like to get it somewhat close just so I don't have to start over on the prototype here. Ooh, I can't see the dots. There are 4 dots. You get that joke? Congratulations, you're a dork. I told the joke, so of course we know I'm a dork. Okay, 3 1/4. Now these ones, I'm not trying to get the marks exact, so even though my table's bowing a little, that's fine for what we're trying to do, because I'm just trying to cut from this line to this line straight this way, and it doesn't matter if the card moves away as long as the blade stays with it. Okay, toss that back over there. All right. I doubt my hot glue gun is hot yet. No, but it's getting there. Turned on hot for now instead of low hot. Make sure that I have all of these the same length. Yep. Okay. Oh, no. Crap. Did I cut it the wrong direction? No, I haven't cut it yet. Aha! Aha! Look at me go. Or not go. Or whatever. Okay, so basically I'm taking an inch off of this top piece because it was longer than the other pieces I had to work with to go with it. So just adjusting on the fly. This is a prototype. When I get to the final one, I can always use whatever size I need because I can get a piece of not offcut and use. An actual piece. All right, what's going on out there? Team Argonaut, motivating myself to build terrain for my games at Gen Con this year. Oh yeah, I'm glad that you're here for inspiration. That is my #1 goal on this channel, is to inspire people to build. I don't know what you're planning on running, or if you're just entering for like contests, you just want to have it on somebody's table. If you're doing anything futuristic, you picked the right spot, Team Argonaut, because this is for a outside your comfort zone, which I don't normally build future stuff, and I'm building like I keep sitting stuff on top of it. I'm going to be building either like an outpost on a planet with just a hut, like a Quonset hut with some antennas and some stuff on it, and maybe some crystals and weird plants, or I may be building a spaceship interior, or both. I don't know. But for right now, I'm prototyping this one here. So my hot gun should be hot now. Yes, it is. Okay. Switch that back to low because I don't like the hot because it melts the foam. Okay. I'm probably at some point going to wish that I had cut the door into this before I do this part. But like I said, this is a prototype and I can make it work. I can make it work. Okay, now double check. Yes, that's the right distance. That's a little screwy right there. That's the right distance. Okay. All right, so this is just some random food card. I don't even know what this is. S'mores something something. I don't know. My housemate is a baker, and who knows what she's got. Okay, so that's way too much. Did not need anywhere near that much. But we're gonna put that on there, and we're gonna use the table. Well, no, we're gonna use this flat thing to line that up across the ground. And also, since this is got a little bit of discrepancy in the cut, will help me to line that up as well. And you've got a little bit of wiggle room before the hot glue sets up. It I don't know the actual word for it. I'm just going to go with sets up. It doesn't dry. A lot of people say hot glue dries, but it's not actually wet. You know what I mean? So do it on camera like a professional, like I know what I'm doing, like I've done this 1,000 times. Okay. Alrighty. Did I mention the hot glue's hot? It's warm even through that cardboard. But you do have a minute to wiggle stuff around because the cardboard's a bit of an insulator and the foam on the other side is definitely an insulator. So you got a minute before it fully sets. So you got a little literal wiggle room. Okay. 2 goops there. And then do the same thing on Meow. Did he just say Meow? Yes, he did. That's kind of a weird thing. Yes, it is. So if you glue that on. Meow. Okay. I can already tell that this probably needs some support on the inside, but by the time it gets a piece to cover that seam that's like a flashing, or I can maybe glue in some supports, and by the time I get multiple layers of paint on it and all that, it'll be set up and it'll be ready to go. Plus, this piece is harder than the others, so make sure that I have this one lined up the right way. I had a line on it that showed me the front. There we go, but I seem to have gotten it just a scotch too big. It's not scotch, it's skosh. I don't even know how to pronounce my words we stole from Japanese correctly. I don't know that skosh is Japanese. Yeah, I didn't either. Looked it up one day. I was like, what? Okay. Oh, definitely going to be needing to sharpen that knife. It's got some issues going on, doesn't it? I already talked about the sharpener, so if you missed that, sorry. Just know that I highly recommend sharpening rather than replacing blades, because you'll just save yourself money in the long run. All right, so I got my little mark that I made for the front. You probably can't see that. It's a little pencil mark right there. So it doesn't matter which is the front or back. It does not matter. A little bit of goop. Once I get this on here and setting, I will take a look at the notes again and see what people have been saying in the chat. I don't want you to feel like I'm ignorifying you. All right. I'm Jacob Hope. Hey, good to see you again. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's so fun to build. I really enjoy this type of stuff, the prototyping and the craft, and yeah, I love it. I love it. It's the stuff that I don't like is when when I'm in a project where I've got like 30 of the same thing over and over again. But stuff like this, it's like new. Love this. But thank you for saying. Okay, Team Argonaut said running games at Gen Con for my first scene is a spaceship interior cryostasis space. See, I would have started on the other thing, but it doesn't matter. I'll probably get to that in a minute as well. So this is literally just an idea. This is just spitballing. So what I'm going to end up doing is I will take some things like this, and I will cut them at, let's just call it a 1/2 inch, because I'm making that up as I go. I should be able to get 3 of them out of this. So again, I've got little marks on my table, so that makes this really easy. If you don't have these marks, however you want to do that is fine. But keep in mind, they do have these at dollar stores, and you can do basically the same thing. It doesn't have all the dots, but this one has the lines at the 1/2 inches. And this one also tells you 60, 45, and 30 degrees, which is really useful for some things. And that was $1. I got it back when they were still $1. Now they're $1.25 at $1.25 tree. But super useful as well. I need to stop putting things in my own way, so let me put that back. Okay. So 1/2 inch, another 1/2 inch. That looks weird because it's too close to the edge. That's fine. So I can get 3 out of that. And let me show you what I'm doing with those. I need a shorter straight edge. Let me use, come on, let go. I'm going to use these I use these paint stirrers, and I put sandpaper on them, and I can use those for sanding sticks to smooth all sorts of things. So I always have these around. I've taped a paper clip to them so that it's got a little ring on it. I've got a little screw over here that I hang it on. So it's always easy to hand. This makes a pretty good straight edge. Just remember that it's got these little divots on the side here. So you never want it to be something longer than that. You're going to end up with a weird wonkiness, or a perfectly normal wonkiness, actually, as wonky things go. Okay. Another good thing about using this stick is, since it has the sandpaper on the other side, once I get it to where I want and I kind of hold it down, it does not move, which is freaking useful because I sometimes get a little twitchy. Okay, just remember, it's a wood stick, so it is possible to cut into it with the knife, so you want to be careful of that. Okay. Yeah, it's got a couple more of those just so I got them in the wings waiting and ready. Okay. So we know that Argonauts out there just getting inspiration. Anybody else actually crafting tonight, or just hanging? Hanging's good. I like hanging out. All right. One more. I'm actually going to flip that around so the smaller side is the one I'm cutting off. You can barely see that because that lead is shiny in weird angles I've got the lights at for the camera. Ooh, that is not even remotely where I wanted to cut. There we go. Measure twice, cut 47 times. No, that's not how it goes. Okay, now the trick is I want to take each of them, put the knife away across. I want to take each of these and hold them and there's probably an easy way to do this, but I don't know it. So I just freehand this every time. I get a relatively straight edge, line the thing up, and start to fold it over. And what this does is give me what's called flashing. And flashing is how you hide the seams. Why? What did I say? Ooh, I didn't get this one anywhere close to the middle, but that is okay because this is just a prototype and only has to look okay. I probably should have gone with 3/4 rather than a 1/2 inch. I think that would have done me better. Oh, and if you need to, you can also come along and score the inside, and it will make these bend easier. But I did not think to do that because I'm forgetful. normally don't really do flashing except on tops of things like that roof on that I did on the house that I was working on last week. I've got the stuff on top of there. It's called leading because it's traditionally made of lead. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is take these, and these will be glued here, and that will hide all these sorts of things. Now, if I was really finishing in this and doing this, I wouldn't be using this packaging foam with all the little beads in it. I would be using XPS, but like I said, this is just a prototype. So what I'm going to do is, and I know that this needs to be cut at a slight angle, but only on the one side. I know that it's technically 30 degrees, but I'm not getting that specific. I'm just going less than 45, and I'm cutting from the edge to that little fold I made in the middle so that it's only narrowed off at one spot, and that's going to be the front part. Now, take that, and there's all sorts of mathematical things you can use to match up the angles and such here, and I'm not doing any of those. I am simply using a pencil and eyeballing where I kind of think the other ones are going to connect into this. So, and I'm not even using this one to copy my other ones. I'll do all of them by freehand. So now I will take that, and I hope that's on camera. It is not. And I'm just following those two lines out from that center. Line segments for people who are picky about the math. Airline segments, not line. Okay, and that should have come loose. Yes, okay. Now, I will take my hot glue, and I will run a bead. I always try to put the glue on the most rigid spot. So I'm going to put the glue on this edge, and then press this into it rather than try to put the glue in here. Plus, you never need as much glue as you think. And if you get too much glue here, it's going to squidge out. You're going to potentially burn your fingers if you've only got high temp instead of low temp. Also, you'll just end up with extra glue everywhere. You don't really want it. So I'm just putting a tiny little bead of hot goopiness here, and we will take that and we will press that in just like that. I'm going to fold it and bend it just to make sure I'm lined up with the front of the house. It's not a house. I don't know. I guess it is a house technically. It's just a space house on some foreign planet where the scientists or whomever living. Just picture a little. Is it Matt Damon? Ben Affleck? Anyway, the guy that grew the potatoes in the poop. If you know what space movie I'm talking about, you know. If you don't know, it doesn't matter. I honestly don't remember the name of it. I think it was called The Martian, maybe? Anyway, to me, The Martian is always the Martian Chronicle stuff by Bradbury. But I think the movie was called The Martian. And I have put too much glue, you can tell, because I've glued it to the surface. Let's cut that loose. Okay. So I got too much glue here and I got seepage. That's not going to matter. Like I said, this is a prototype. So I'm not even going to bother cleaning that up. But I do want this to go away because I need it to match up with the other one. So I can put a little more down here, but only a little. I say only a little, and then I put way too much. And then we'll do the same thing. Bend that over and press that into place. Move it around so I don't stick it down again. And worst case scenario, you paint it with a little rust and a little metal and call it a weld. Okay, so that's one little part of my doobop done there. Okay, so I'm actually really kind of enjoying how this is coming out, so I think I'm going to keep working on this unless somebody just really needs me to work on the spaceship doors, because I can do that too. Okay. Yeah, do you use the Argonaut? Do you use the blade part of the knife, or do you use the back edge? I don't know which to use. I don't want to cut through it, and I'm kind of heavy-handed. So, where's my other piece? There it is. Okay, we're going to use this on the other side. We already know that I want to cut that one piece at that very slight angle. I'm eyeballing that one. Whoa! Without my finger in the way. Okay, so that's that one. Let's make sure I got that close to right. Yep, that's good enough. Okay, and then I want this to come here and here. And then hack through that, and hack through that. And that is not all the way through. I'm going to have to tear that a little. There we go. Okay. Now, same deal. I'm only going to do the front of this. I'm not doing anything on the back. Just going to kind of eyeball what I'm doing on the front here. Okay. I think that's too much, but I didn't get it right on the other side, so aim for a little more than too little. All right, so we're going to press that into place. I left it standing too far proud of the front. Oh, well, what are you going to do? A little bit of glue on here, and again, little bit of glue. Don't want it to have too much squidge out. I don't know if that's the technical term. It's what I'm calling it. Squeeze out. That's the technical term. Squeeze out. I always say it squidges. Use the blade really softly. Okay, I'll give that a go. I still got several more I got to do here, so I'll give that a try in a second. Let's see. Yeah, that one worked better than the first one. Even though I have it too far forward, you probably can't see that, and it won't matter to anybody but me. They probably did the exact same thing on the Star Wars bunker set, and just no one knew. Probably Harrison Ford knew, because I mean, y'all know that story. Harrison Ford actually didn't even want to be in Star Wars. He had been in American Graffiti, but he didn't want to be in Star Wars, and specifically, and he just showed up to be a carpenter one day, and somebody said, "Here, stand in and talk to Carrie for a day," and he's like, "Well, okay," and so he stood up there, and they exchanged some things, and people realized, oh, they have pretty good chemistry on screen, and the next thing you know, we all love Han Solo. Okay, now I'm going to carefully trim along that, and I'm not making a second pass because I just know I will go through it. And nope, that's not enough. Okay, we're going to try that again. Again, very softly, and that should be good enough. That is already starting to make a cut, just not as deep as I would hope. Okay, so I'm going to make one more pass. It's a little heavier handed, but I'm definitely not cutting through it. And I should have done that on the outside, huh? Not the inside. All right, I see the problem. Okay, we're going to try that again. We're going to toss you over here. We're going to put it on the outside, and that should work. Okay, mark it again. Mark it again. God, those glue bits mess me up. Okay, very lightly. Okay, and bend it that way. Okay, warning, this channel is not for kids, because that's fucking brilliant. That worked like a damn champ, that did. Okay, look how much better that one is. Woo! Okay, so we're going to take this. I messed this up and I had to cut that piece off, so now I got to trim this again. This is the type of stuff where I get crazy and cut off too much, but I didn't this time. Yay! Okay, so we want that to match that angle, so that's got to go like, what angle is that? It's going to go at that angle, and then just some random angle back this way. You're going to take that, and you're going to use that, and we're going to use that, and then we got to go over here and mark here, and here, and then Holy Hosafat in a handbasket. That worked on the first try. Either directions. I got that angle almost the exact same both sides. Look at me go. Okay, so now, again, tiny little bead of glue here. I'm starting from the front and moving to the, whoa, that's way out of the way, to the top, because I already have these pieces cut here on the front. So I'm matching to them, and then the top piece doesn't have to match yet. So that is why I'm working there. Now that piece right here is still a little warm, so you can roll it off there if you need to. That's just getting it dirty, so I'm gonna leave that alone. That's coming along looking good. If that was painted some steel gray and had some stormtroopers in front of it, you'd never know it wasn't done by professionals. Okay. Oh, I bet this would be good for what is it called? Star Wars Legion? Is that the one that's still out? I know there were like 5 Star Wars games and they're down to like 1 because one of them kind of beat the others out. But I don't remember which one because I don't play war games. Except Battletech, I already said that. Okay, so we're going to take that, fold it over. We're going to use that flat surface to make that a nice good fold. Hey, look at that. It's coming along. And from a blank page to a 2-minute sketch at most to looks like a stinking building. All right, so we are now going to, I know I can do the sides at any point, so I'm not going to do those right now. I'm going to take this and I am going to figure out this same distance here to here. Easy enough to do, 30 degrees, done. I just need to find my square. There it is. It's called a square when it's not square. All right, so we're going to take that. Oh, that's the wrong way. Take that. There we go. Oh, this is the busted one. This won't work because I got a cracked off piece right here. I got to grab a different one. Y'all like, yeah, and I know, but I'm just letting y'all know. Okay, so that needs to come from here. And that's not going to work. How do I do that? Do it that way? Yeah, there we go. Okay. So the way this works, there's degrees over here. So I got to match this little 30-degree mark. That's not making it any brighter for you. I'm going to mark that little 30-degree mark. I'm holding this corner right here and pivoting on that. And I'm putting that at 30 degrees on this top edge. So we'll put that right there. See, it lines up right there. And now this line should be the opposite of this line. And that will give me my little struts I drew on my diagram. So we'll take that and that. Now that's the center line. So I gotta figure out how to, I need a thinner piece than this. We'll keep that one. That's the right length. Oh no, that's the one I already cut. That'll be perfect. I will cut that in half. Then we will be exactly where we need to be. So I will take that and what kind of food's that from? I have no idea. Something for my housemates. But it's food card, you said? Yeah, I don't know. It's all the same. Okay, so now that I have a narrower strip that should be roughly the same thickness as this, I'm going to take that, line it up with that line. This line is going to be at the center of this. Take that, put it like that. I want to draw that, and that will give me my corner piece up there. Double check before I go gluing anything on. And it's not perfect, but it's close enough for government work, and I presume this is built by government contractors, so, we're just going to go with that. All right, now, tiny little bit of glue. I want some definitely right here in this corner. And the rest of the line is kind of wherever it gets is good. And then a little bit definitely at the bottom edge. Take that, line that up. Don't stick it through the glue. Don't want the glue on the surface. Make sure that's meshed right up into that corner. I said meshed, not mashed, but either way works. And then lay that into the glue. Let that harden up. Then knife or scissors or teeth, I don't care. And make that match along that bottom. Oh, come on. There it goes. Never cut toward yourself. Don't do what I'm doing. Listen to what I'm saying. Don't do what I'm doing. Okay. There we go. So coming along. Professional. Yeah. Well, I get paid for stuff. It's just not this. So I'm a professional something. On the other hand, if you want to pay me, I have a Patreon. Just saying. I always feel weird telling people that, but you know, it is the world we live in. So I do have a Patreon and a buy me a coffee. Links in the doobly-doo. Down below is what I usually say. Okay, so again, that's the almost the 30-minute mark. That's the 30-degree mark. And I want to line this part right up at that corner. Set that 30-degree to the top edge. Take my pen. Mark my line. Okay. All right. Good. Butterfingers. That's not what kind of food it was. That's just how I am. I'm just Butterfingers. Okay, so if I take that and put it right there, I only have to take off that angle and that angle, and I'm good to go. I know y'all can't see that from now on, maybe. So anyway, tiny little marks. Not just tiny little marks, also tiny little Daves, but the only people that are going to get that are Mark and Dave. And if you don't know who they are, well, I can't help you. Okay. A little bit there, a little bit there, and then the rest is just kind of wherever it sticks, because it'll be good enough. All right, now I'm going to take that, match it right up into that corner again, follow that line, got a little bit of wiggle time before that glue sets fully. Anything that comes out the side like this, you can just peel it off before it hardens. And get a little of my thumb there, but that's all right. There we go. And then this time I'm going to use my nippers because it's just going to be faster than trying to use that knife. So I get my nippers and done. That's about 90% of the front done. Now I got to figure out a door. I don't think I'm going to bother going for round. I'm just going to go for an arch. I need a guy for scale. You'll be a guy for scale. You're kind of short. A little short for a stormtrooper, literally. All right, so pick one of my regular guys. Now, these are 25 millimeter old schools, so he's a little short, but he is standing on a base, so I'm going to use his head. But I'm actually going to use the top of his spear here for the height of the door. So I'm going to take that, and it's just a offcut of foam core. I have not peeled it yet. This still has the paper on it. I am going to end up peeling the paper off of one side just because it holds paint better. I'll probably take it off the other side because it'll adhere to the foam better, but this is a prototype, so I don't really care that much. So I'm going to take this and mark about where his pointy bit is, and part here about where his pointy bit is. That's going to be my super duper not at all professionally straight line. Take that and use 3 different things as straight edges tonight. I know. Wow, I didn't get those anything close to the same height. That's all right. I figured out on the fly. I should have peeled this first. And while I'm at it, I'm going to switch straight edges so I can see better. Now, I don't have my little marks anymore, but I can see where that line is. Now we'll just follow it. That's about right. Okay. That is, close the knife, move the nippers out of the way. Okay, that's going to be the height of my door. I'm just going to cut an arch out of that. I am going to use the tried and true method of fold something in half, draw an arch on it, cut that, and then unfold it. We've done this since grade school. We all know how this works. I'm going to use this piece because why not? No, I'm not. That's too narrow. That's too thick. Use that one. Okay. So we are going to fold that. Yeah, we're going to just take a piece off that's longer than the door I want. Then we're going to take that and fold that in half. Press that together. You just use the back of the knife for that. I'm going to use my grid to square that off. Okay, now that I've got that ready to go, let's take a look at the notes again. I'm still at the same spot. Alrighty. Okay, so I know I want it to be this height or shorter, so I will take that and draw a little mark there. I don't want this to be like a Gothic arch. I want it to be sort of a rounded door. So just by choice, there's no reason for that one way or the other. I need it to be at least an inch wide so bases can get through. I'm actually going to go about 1.5 inches wide, so this needs to be about 3/4 out. So I'm going to use this to mark that. This is bigger than I normally make them, but I figure people are going in and out of this, in spacesuits and such. Good Lord, can't speak tonight. All right, so we're going to take that and put that here. You're going to take that and draw, I can't see that, the dots. Another 3/4 inch mark up there. We are going to connect the dots. You will see why in a moment. Okay. Then I know it needs to be this high. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to freehand a little arch. I'm going to go basically straight across this way, but then almost immediately start pulling it down. But I'm not going to do it immediately because, again, I don't want it to come to a pointy top. I want it to come to a rounded top. So I will then take that and just eyeball some curvature. Who doesn't like to eyeball some curvature? Make it out what you will. All right. So I'll then take that, cut away that excess there. I'm going pretty heavy with this. I'm trying to get through both layers at once because I'm an idiot. Okay. And we're going to take this other piece here and just get rid of it. Yeah, that's trash, or if you want to put it in rubbish bin or whatever. Now, for this part, I'm going to take one side, unfold it, and my heavy-duty scissors, and arch that around and slightly up to take it off on the other side, but I want to make sure I'm up so I don't mess anything up. Then I fold it back over. And now I can trim that to perfectly match it. Perfectly being subjective here. That off there. Haha! I now have a door template. I'm about to have a door. Now, once I peeled off the one side of the paper, immediately this started to try to curve. You can see that it's kind of bowed. So I'm going to go ahead and peel the other side now because I want it peeled off eventually anyway. I might as well do it now, and that way it will definitely lay flat while I cut it. Lay that down, take my arch, lay that here, line up the bottom edge, and I'm actually just going to cut this piece in half because I can get 2 doors out of it, and we'll cut another one in a minute. Something this thick, you don't want to cut both layers at once because your blade will not sit vertical and you'll end up with wonkiness. I'm just going to go with wonkiness. Okay, so I'm going to straighten that. That's pretty square, so I'm going to use that edge here. And I'm going to do this in that, take off more and more as we go to get the arch going. So rather than try to curve around through the foam, I'm just taking off more and more till it's fully rounded off. And if you really wanted, you could like sand all this up. But this is actually going to have a door frame around it, so I'm not doing that. I save all these little things for shrapnel for different stuff, but you don't have to. It's just we don't have a very green hobby, and I try to end up with as little foam in the landfill as possible. All right, almost done here. I always forget. Mrs. Lynn always reminds me, like, share, and subscribe, please. I would love to have you back, and that will make it more likely that YouTube tells you and whoever's next. Okay, so that is my door. I am, at some point, I will figure out a way to make a little hole in this for a window, but I'm not doing that right now. I can figure that out later. So I need an archway, and I think y'all will like this because this is pretty slick. That's too short. Is that going to be long enough? Yes. Okay, so I want to take this, and I'm going to have that stand. This is 4 millimeters, give or take, which is 1/6 of an inch. All right. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to take a 1/4 inch off it. Nope. I'm going to peel this because it's going to make it easier. Again, it's going to bow, so I'm going to go ahead and take the other side off as well. It's already starting to. You can already see that arcs as soon as you take the paper off. It curls in toward the paper, the blanks, the no longer papered side. So sometimes I have different types of and grades. Sometimes the paper doesn't rip as easily, so you just kind of be careful with it. If it really won't come, I have found that if you spray it with isopropyl alcohol and water mixture, what some people call wet water, excuse me, that you can get the paper to let go after a minute. You just spray it, and while it's still very damp, very slightly damp, but before it dries completely, but the water and alcohol has had a chance to soak in, you can peel it off. Sometimes it loosens up the glue. Luckily, didn't need to do that this time. Now, I want a 1/4 inch piece, and you will see why in a moment. So we're going to take this, use this straight edge here. By we, I mean me, are going to, yeah, it's bad English, whatever. Take off a 1/4 inch. Now that is a little narrower than I personally like to work with normally, and I have a different way that we could do that, and I will try that in a moment, but I think this will work. Now, since this is a 1/4 inch and this is less, that should stand proud of that, and that will make a doorway just like that. Foam core is flexible enough to just put it straight on like that. If you want the Star Wars-y padded door frame look, you can do that now. You can take a pencil and draw little lines. I'm not doing that. I'm literally just wrapping this around here, gluing it on, and then trimming off these bottom edges and then sticking it on the thing. I didn't get this as rounded as I'd like, so I'm going to start at the middle. I'm going to try to round that a little more. Remember, I wanted it rounded and not pointy, but I didn't. I aired too much the wrong direction. Okay, so I will glue that at the top. Make sure I've got enough on both sides. Yes, okay. I will glue that at the top just a little bit. Again, you do not want to use high temp glue. You want to use low temp glue because high temp glue will melt the foam, and then you will not have leeway with only a 1/4 inch piece of foam. Okay, so that's that. And then we're just going to leave that there for a second while that hardens and check again. No, nobody answering. Okay. Looks like we got a couple of new people. Got a few watching right now. So glad to have you. Again, this is Campaign Terrain. I am your host, That Guy Cross. I try to get here every Sunday. This is the first time I've been doing a futuristic build in, oh my God, it has to have been at least 15 years because I don't really do future stuff. I do medieval stuff mostly. And this is for a challenge called Out of Your Comfort Zone. And I think this is going to qualify. Okay, now that I've got that at the top and fully in there, so I can see, you know, with my eyeballs this close to it, I can see that there's a little itty bitty tiny gap in there. No one but me is ever going to know, except y'all. Don't tell anybody. So no one's ever going to care. And again, this is the prototype. So now, a little bit of glue. Again, very little. You don't want it to squeeze out everywhere. A little bit of glue all along that edge. And then take that side, wrap it around, hold it. I'm trying to keep it vertical. My fingers keep wanting to bend the door frame in toward the door because it sticks up and it wants to roll over. So I'm using a straighter, more vertical item, more rigid item to hold that in place. That should be good. Oh, I glued it down again. That's fine. Hot glue comes right off. All right. Now, somebody asked me about the cutting board one time. The cutting board looks to be the part that they cut out when they put in a piece of manufactured fake stone for a kitchen counter. And this is the part where the sink was that got cut out. How I ended up with this, I have no idea. I bought it at I know how I ended up with it, but I have no idea how it ended up where I got it. I got it at a estate sale, just in a pile of stuff. This thing cost me, $2, maybe. And I think I probably talked them down to $1 because I am cheap like that. Okay, wrap that around into the glue. Again, use my straighter edge so it doesn't roll over. And let that harden up for a minute. Oh, it's already 8:12. So I guess I'm going to just stick on the door and we'll be done for now. I will be much farther along with both this and the other build because I'm going to prototype that as well. I know that Team Argonaut, yes, Team Argonaut, I was making sure I had the right person, said that they are also going to be building a spaceship for a game. And so I am sorry that I did not get to the spaceship interior, but you can make doors this same way. So that would be helpful. This is basically going to be a flat piece of either foam core or XPS, which are the same thing. The foam in foam core is XPS. It's just got paper on it. This will be peeled paper. And then this strip around it right here, that's the trim, that's going to be this same food card, just cut to fit that trim. There's going to be 2 doors. I think what I'm going to do is instead of having it come in like that, I'm actually going to have one. I'm going to do it like the Star Wars doors where the blast doors, where they look like that and they cross into each other. But I'm not sure of that. I may do it exactly like I've got here. But the door on the other side, if you look from the other side, it'll look just like this because I will have the tabs and the slots lined up so that on this side, the tab goes this way, and on the other side, the tab goes this way so that when it's done, the tabs are overlapped. So it's like a blast door. So that's what I'm going to work on for that. If you come to my Discord, I can post some pictures of that as I do them over the week. I'm not going to have another live till next Sunday, and I honestly don't remember if the challenge is next Sunday or the Sunday after. So I may only have 1 week to do this. If I've got 2 weeks to do this, then I will definitely show the prototype for this, not the process of it, but I'll show what I did in next week's live. But I think for tonight, I'm pretty much going to wrap it up. I am almost there. Give me just a second. Now, I'm going to trim this off right here. If you wanted a door frame all the way around to make this look like it was a pressure door, you can now take this and glue this to another 1/4 inch piece and sit it like that and make it like a sill at the bottom. I'm not going to do that. For this prototype anyway, I am just going to take this piece and find the center, which should be easy because I can use my little template. The center there, and this piece is sticking to me. And the center, let's do it this way. That there, and follow it up on a very slight mark for the center at the top. And then I will take this and measure that. This is 10 inches. Yes, yes. Okay, I will take that, mark that in the center, and did that. That's my center mark right there. And I'm just going to kind of eyeball that the rest of the way up, and I'm barely making a dent here. But again, this I would not be leaving. I would either plaster over this if I was keeping this piece, or I will be using XPS, which would be smoother. Now, take the door. A little bit of glue. You want to make sure you go all the way around the edges so you don't have any little gaps. Wow, it doesn't want to come out. There it goes. Wrap that around that way. A little squidge across the bottom. A little squidged X here in the middle just to get some good coverage. And then take that and glue my thumb to it, and then line it up with the center mark, and make sure it's pushed down to the surface because I don't expect to have like a lintel or anything here. And then that is it. My prototype is pretty much done. I'm liking this building. The scaffolding part will be pretty much straightforward. I have no idea what I'm using for the antenna. Probably various sizes of straws and tubes that fit inside each other to make it look like it's telescoping. I have no idea what I'm using for the radar dish, but I'll figure that out. I've got some plants and stuff from some of my earlier videos. If you look at my topsy-turvy videos, I've got some crystalline structures and some plant-looking structures, and those will probably go on it. And then I'm probably going to use my previous desert home built as my base for this, just because that makes it quick and simple. It won't be Mars red, but it will look good. It will look like a desert planet. So that is my whole thing. I will probably be attaching various little blocks and such to the top of this to make it look like environmental units and things like that. But those are, just make them up on the fly, grab some plastic pieces, out of your bits box and stick them on there, and that's going to be easy peasy. So, of course, for these edges along here and the back ones, I will do the same types of trick I did here for the front. And that's it. The prototype is done. So it's been an hour and 17 minutes. The Discord's down in the bottom. So if you look down below here, the Discord is definitely listed, and that's the permanent link, so it should work. There's also a link to Dungeon Matron, who's one of my... Oh, let me show you my patrons. I have 3 patrons, and they are these 3 people. If I can find it. There it goes. Those 3 people right there. Dungeon Matron, that's Lisa. She has a vibrant and active Discord, but that is her only online presence. So a lot of us go there to meet and gather and such, specifically on Wednesday afternoons and every other Saturday. I don't know if she's still doing the Saturday ones, but every Wednesday there's a few people show up there to talk. So her Discord is linked down below as well. So that's Dungeon Matron, also known, that's Lisa. Patrick Walters, another longtime supporter of the channel. Very good, very appreciative of that. Digital Calibrator is one of my, both helps me, clearly is one of my patrons, as well as I also know them in real life, and they come over here and help me with stuff. So Dungeon Matron has provided some of the equipment. Digital Calibrator has provided some of the effect of some of the processing and getting it right to go to the get the lights and the sound correct. So if you're hearing me and seeing me, Digital Calibrators to help with that. If you're hearing me, that's Dungeon Matron's help as well. So huge shout out to them and to Patrick. And yeah, to everybody that showed up tonight, glad to have you. If it's your first time, brilliant, love it. Had a really active chat, so that's fun. I like talking back to people. That sounded wrong, but you know what I mean. And so if you're new, welcome. If you've been here 100 times, welcome back. You're one of my campaigners. As soon as you're here, if you're here, I'm just glad to have you. I hope to inspire people to build things for their games, for war games, for role-playing games, just for dioramas. This stuff is not difficult. It's just little baby steps. Some of them are a little repetitive, and then anybody can build this stuff. So I hope to inspire anybody to do it. So until next time, I love you. This is Campaign Terrain. I am your host, That Guy Cross. This is the basement, and I wish you luck in your campaign, whether that's in life or on the table. So I'll catch you later. Thanks for coming.